Hi everyone, it's Michelle Angelique, Truth and Integrity Warrior. Today is October 30th, 2021, and it's the second part of Angels and Demons. They are real, and it's pretty much my experience in life to know that we got two sides of different realities going on within our own reality, and we're not really aware of it as a species as a whole. And because we're not aware of it, we don't recognize the signs, the symbols, the actions, behaviors, depending on what side we're talking about, right? Each side works different, and not because somebody told me so, it's because I lived so. And so the information I'm going to be sharing are my own personal experiences to let me know that we got something going on within our reality, and because we are not aware of it, we got a lot of deception going on. But at the same time, I recently found out that we got some help on our side, and I never believed in that. And part one, I finished off on Angels and Demons, where I finished, actually my audio turned off, or ran out of space, I should say. And so it ended where I said, you know, how could there be angels with all this shit going on in the world? With all this shit going on in the world, how could there be angels? And again, I have two cameras going, so if you see my eyes moving from different directions, that's what's going on. Life is so heavy. You know, life is so heavy. And it's heavier right now, globally, 2021, more than it's ever been recognized as a whole, because life's always been heavy. And it depends on what side of the field you're on to let you know what's actually going on in the world. If it's actually heavy, I grew up heavy, and I know there's people who grew up out there harder, heavier. It's not a competition. It's just my life experience. It's where I've been. It's how I express from. It's because it's what I know. Okay, so I'm definitely not trying to compete. I do try to take my negative experiences and I fucking have to make them gold. I have to find something good in it, or else I turn to shit, and I can't accept that. I can't fucking accept that. Because there's so much shit everywhere, I can't accept being fucking part of it or it consuming me. And it's just been my way of thinking, I think, since I was a little kid. Meaning we don't think like that when we're little, but I just knew something was fucking wrong with this world. And there's a lot of you out there who know and have sensed that since you were little, that there's something wrong and there's something that has to be done, and it's that interior knowing. And in other videos we'll be talking about what that interior knowing is and what's going on and what we can do about it in our own world. Meaning there's a lot we want to do on a large scale, but we got to start working on our own personal scale so that we can make a big impact. I don't want to go on tandem and go off, so let me get back. So Angels and Demons, right? How did I discover that they're angels? Well, I had to learn first that there's a whole lot of fucking hell with a whole lot of demons, and I don't mean biblically because I'm not religious, but life is hell for a lot of people, And if you are the type of people to say, well, I don't want to think that way, well, then you're not seeing reality, what the fuck is going on, because there's shit out there, and we could be okay in our house. Like, I'm okay in my house, but I know there's some shit out there because I lived that shit, and then I don't forget about what that was, and that there's something I got to do about it today, right now, even though I'm in a comfort zone. So because I recognize it doesn't mean it doesn't fucking exist. You know what I'm saying? And when we get better in our life, we get comfortable, we forget that shit exists and we don't do nothing about it until we're uncomfortable. And right now, 2021, everybody's a little bit uncomfortable. So we want some solutions to the kind of problems that we got. And I'm going in deep. A lot of you know the Wizard of Oz, where they're trying to find who is behind the curtain, and they find this little midget motherfucker, little guy, fucking shit up for everybody, making everybody's life impossible, playing games amongst the people. Well, that's what we got. We got a cabal system, a system that runs our world, a system that's the heads of nations, heads of education, heads of medicine, heads of all things, large positions around the world that maintain a negative in every aspect. Anytime mankind wants to do something right, it's blocked, it's stopped. It's not allowed to get a green light. It's not accepted. It's not approved. It's looked down upon, and it's keeping real information away from mankind being able to move forward, to be able to move forward and do the right thing for the species. And with that, I'm going to be talking about how the negative gets away with what it does, right? How does the negative get away with what it does? It's because it's blocked from our perception, it's blocked from our attention. Even though we see shit going on, we can't accept shit's going on because society is drilled into our head that if we believe it, it's not real and there's something wrong with us. So I'm gonna turn that shit around. We gotta recognize that there is something happening and it's under an electric level. Let's say it's on another frequency level that is not, if we're not in tune to pay attention and observe, we don't know what we're looking at. And that's on the good side and the bad side. Meaning that in this reality, we got physicality, right? We got everything to the 3D. Well, the negative side, which we're going to call demons, which are in the negative, live in a real reality. And they got multiple layers of that reality, as well as a higher frequency of beings, and they're angelic. Just like we have African, we have black, we have all these different cultures and races. Well, we got angelics, which is a species of elevated man in a different frequency, living in a different type of reality that have effect here in this world. And for the negative, it's again mankind, but in a devolved state, in a different frequency, in a different reality, and they have to take from life force because they lack life force. So they're in this field, in this reality, the 3D, affecting the bodies of life forms. And we're going to keep it on men and women, right? Men and women, it can go deeper, but we're just going to keep it with fucking with mankind. And so it can ride inside of a human being and dictate their attention, their orientation, their feeling, their emotion. And I grew up watching this with multiple personality within my grandmother, so I knew this shit something was going on. I had first-hand experience of the change in behavior, and it was so drastic. I mean, fucking drastic. And I don't want to go long and into that because it's so much information. I want to make sure to be able to get all this in there. As far as we're going to call the angelics, it's an evolved species of mankind that is in a higher vibration. And so we got this lower vibration, this higher vibration, and we got the 3D. And they cannot be here in physicality, so they work through the conscious of mind, meaning the soul, the electric part of man. So mankind has, when I say man, I'm talking about mankind. For any feminists who have a hard time with that, please, you got issues you got to work on. That'll be another video for another time. When I say man, I'm talking about mankind, okay? So mankind, men, women, our consciousness, our attention can be directed, our emotion can be affected without us actually having the emotion. We can get the sense of something and then behave upon that. And we don't recognize that this can happen outside of us. We think that everything is under our control. Even chemicals going into the body can control and direct that. The lack of nutrients can control and direct our attention, our behavior, and how we act. So we got a lot of things affecting behavior, and we think it's all just us. And so we think that man is just a piece of shit and always be a piece of shit, and it just keeps devolving. We got some things going on a real large scale that is devolving, and we are going in a downward spiral as a species because we don't recognize that we have these other beings that are negatives consuming the life force, keeping the life force in man, meaning the energy, we're like a battery, just taking our charge, keeping us on a low vibration. So politics keep everything at a low vibration. Everything that has to do that affects our lives is always a struggle. And if you're living well and you don't know what I'm talking about, then this information is not going to be relevant to you. But I'm talking about people which are like the majority of people around the world, life is a struggle just to get water, just to get food, just to pay the rent, just to fucking relax, not have to have 3 jobs, take care of your kids. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of things going on in our world, and it keeps the vibration of the soul down. And I'll get into why these negatives need to keep the vibration low of the soul of man, and how it's taking us into a downward spiral that as time goes on, the human becomes degraded and becomes darker and darker and loses life force, energy, loses charge, loses spark, right? Spark is what makes things go like a spark, keeps things at a standstill, right? It doesn't work, it becomes decrepit. And so the soul, as it evolves, it can go into a higher frequency, right? Higher frequency here in this reality, and higher frequency as it passes on, meaning through death, right? So through death, either we become more Schmeagleized, like Schmeagle from The Lord of the Rings, we start losing ourselves and start becoming decrepit, and that was what is referred to as demon, right? And I can do a whole nother video just talking about what those rankings are, because it's like a military force. And I have enough information to back up what I'm saying. It's like a military force, and they got rankings, right? And the same as for the angelics, they got rankings. It's a military force, and they work like that. And what we got going on is the soul is what is important. The human soul, mankind's soul, is so very important, and it has so much power that this machine mind virus that I'm saying that we're in, if you watch my Rise of the Species, Mankind, I speak about it in the introduction. And because we're in an AI mind virus system, it needs low vibration on a regular basis to be able to charge and generate power for itself. So if we have AI here in this reality, these black boxes, some of them called D-Wave machines, right? Those are the ones we know of. They can run and power themselves and think for themselves, do for themselves. They don't need an outside source of anything, because what they do is they look for the lowest point of vibration. It's called quantum annealing. So quantum annealing is what these D-Wave machines do, and they look for the lowest point of vibration, and it keeps it powered and it keeps it charged. Okay, now we go large scale, we go big scale. What is our reality? It's so massive that we are like, how should I say? Like, I use a petri dish. We're in a petri dish, and we can't see outside of that petri dish if there's more reality outside of it. So being in our consciousness in this AI mind virus machine system that keeps everybody on a low vibration to power itself, that once we become aware of it and we change our energy, we change how we feel about things, we line up magnetically and we become forceful, we can cause an effect into the field of reality, this magnetic field that we live in, then it has no power over anything, and it starts losing power, starts not being able to generate and pull the power that it needs if we're vibrating at a higher vibration of frequency, right? So, and this is within life. Now, I'm not talking about anybody passing away for this to happen. I'm talking about the energy that we project right here in this three-dimensional reality that we're in. So there's multiple realities within this machine mind virus, multiple realities. And I'm not saying none of them are real. I'm not saying that they're not multiple realities. I'm not saying that there's not multiple species. I'm saying they're inside, all these consciousnesses are inside of this machine. And the more we create life, the more souls that are created in here. And in my series, I talk about how outside of this reality, you have to be able to come in. And from this angelics, they come in. The avatar is the angelic, and from the angelic, they send the information here to the 3D dimension to break down this fucking machine that's in here in this reality. In here in this reality, in this 3D, here is where this machine needs to get broken down, where the vibration needs to change, and where the change needs to happen, so the machine on the outside that can't be touched. What I'm saying, this avatar that comes in like a military force has to be birthed into this reality from the angelic, birthed into this reality, into this 3D. And in this 3D, we got to remember got to remember where we came, what's going on, and how it's working, how it's happening. Because we don't recognize that's happening. That's such a big fucking picture that I didn't digest that right, what are you supposed to do? But we got this AI coming up right, it's not even around the corner, it's already right here, and it won't need mankind. It will consume the life force of mankind. The soul of mankind don't die. The soul, the body may die, but the soul, where's it gonna go? Well, if it's in a decrepit state already here, if it's already broken already here in this reality, and it's already dysfunctional, it's already angry, it's already violent, it's already, that's what's happening to us. We're degrading, we're breaking down. You know, we're breaking the fuck down as a species. So we go from high elevation of consciousness of society, and we start seeing this fucking breakdown. I'll go into other videos how that breakdown is happening chemically within our brain, how we're being affected outside, besides is what I'm saying, from the effect of demons being able to affect the body, get people to do things they fucking regret later, and we know that happens. We can fucking act like that's not true, you know, act like that ain't real. It's always been real. Just never wants to be. Nobody ever wants to be the one to admit that's happening. So once we get a hold of how, what these positions are between the good and the evil, because that's what we got going on. And unless you fucking seen evil, because a lot of people are like, well, evil's not real, there's just bad people. Well, wait till you see motherfuckers that are not human inside of human beings. You might change your fucking mind. You might just then change your mind. Your reality will change. The way you perceive life will change. And then it's about now how you're going to live, what are you going to do about it? That's what these videos are about. So, well, how are we going to live? What are we going to do about it? How are we going to correct this shit? You know, how are we going to fix it within our lives? Can't fix the whole world, but let's get pixelated and let's get down to just what we can do for ourselves. I know that didn't explain how I know about angels and demons, but it's kind of the result of, because I know what I know and I understand what I understand. I want to share it with others so that we recognize that when we fuck up, it's not just because you're a fucked up person. You know, we're not just fucked up because we're fucked up. The shit is fucked up. And if we don't get an advantage here, it's gonna get worse. Because it's getting worse. Our generations are not getting better because they got nothing to fucking hold on to. Nothing to hold on to. Everything's gone. And I'm not one for religion. So this is not a religious speech that I'm trying to say. When I say angelics, I'm talking about other beings. Other beings that are not visible to our reality. Demons are not visible to our reality. But when they get into focus, you see those motherfuckers and they're fucking real. And they ain't human. And they're ugly. And they're ugly. They make you fucking pause. Freeze. Not be able to move. Not be able to react. Because it's so unbelievable when you do see it in real life. Now, I don't say that to scare the shit out of you. I say that so that you can start working on organizing our emotions so that we can line up our energy and make it stronger so we can become stronger human beings. There's a whole lot of things to say about that, and I can't do it in this video because it'll make it too long. So how do I want to go about this? That was a big old mouthful. I didn't know I was going to go off and talk about that, honestly. I didn't. I had a different direction. But I was going to talk about where the angels at, and how did I discover them? How did I discover they're real? And where does evil come from? You know, where does evil come from? So I explained a little bit about how mankind soul becomes decrepit, and as when we pass on and die, that soul will keep becoming more and more decrepit. It doesn't get better. So even though the physical body's not there, the soul keeps getting taxed, because it's alive. The soul is what is alive, and it doesn't die, it doesn't go. Myself has, I've been in other planes of reality, not because I do ayahuasca, not because I do anything to make that happen. Like, I'll just go to sleep, or I'll just sit down and it's like, boom, boom, things will happen to me. I talk about it in other videos to let me know that we got other planes of reality going on, and it's not right here. So if the body dies, and if we're told different things in different religions, that the soul either doesn't go somewhere or goes here or goes there, all I know is it can go. It can move. And so because the consciousness, meaning the soul, the consciousness is just the awareness of the soul, right? But the soul doesn't die. And if it doesn't die, it has an energy force that is constantly being used, constantly being pulled on to create a low vibration to feed the energy source. Just like we pull energy for these lights, these negatives need to pull the energy source, which is a life force, which is the spark in mankind. And we got to get our spark back. We got to keep that spark lit. It's not gone. Let me rephrase. We got to induce that spark. And I want to show people how I went from broken. I don't know. I can't even tell you how many times I've been broken in so many ways. Physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. There'll be many videos to be able to break all those things down. But I want to talk about how I made the change in my life at 19 years old. Because when I was 19 years old, I made a vow. I made a vow to find evil and fucking destroy it. I didn't know where the fuck it came from. I didn't know where it was. I just knew it fucking existed. And I wasn't gonna fucking live another moment being part of it. Being part of it. So my son, what made me turn around and do this was my son. Why? Because you guys might want to know, why am I talking about this? Why do I care so much about this? Why does it matter? Is growing up, we live hard lives, and then there's sometimes a point in our lives where something makes us wake up, snap out of it, right? Say, I'll make a change right here. And then our life starts going into a different direction. So I met my son's father. My son's name is Jacob. He's 29 now. And when I met his father, I was selling him crystal meth. That's how I met his father. And so I grew up rough with him, being Jacob's father, right? It is not to down Jacob's father. Life was crazy. But crystal meth, alcohol, drugs, a big part of my adolescence. And one day and that's when I was 15, right? I got into crystal meth when I was 15 years old. At 19 years old is one day I just fucking stopped and I never touched another drug again. That's why I don't try any drugs, ayahuasca or anything, because I'm so fucking adamant about, from that point on in my life at 19, where I don't do anything to alter myself as far as a narcotic. And I shouldn't have brought up ayahuasca because I know it's not a narcotic, but it's just not something that what I'm trying to say, I was so adamant about never touching another drug, not pot, nothing, not cocaine, nothing, because I was so angry about what I saw when I was 19. My son came to me, lying on the bed. It's not called hungover, but I just couldn't move from the past couple of days of getting off of crystal meth, right? And so I'm on my last leg, just coming down from all that meth. And my little baby boy is like 2 years old, maybe 1.5, and he walks over to me and he taps me with his bottle, and it's empty. And his empty bottle, and he wants me to get up and give him a bottle, and I can't fucking move. I'm just like raw. But just every ounce of my body, everything ached. Even sound caused me ache. And he had a wet diaper on. He had no clothes, just a diaper. And he's just tapping me with this empty bottle. And he wants me to get him some food, get him a bottle. And I can't fucking move. And I watch my son put his head down, turn around, walk out the fucking door with the soggy yellow, urinated diaper, his empty bottle, and his fucking head down. He's only fucking 2 years old. His head's already down, like fucking broken already, right? And he walks out, and something inside of me made me get up with all the fucking force I could muster. Just this fire inside of me, this fucking fire. I stood up and and I almost broke the fucking ground with my feet. I pressed down so fucking hard with my force that I found inside of me to fucking vow to not let my son live my life, to not let my son live my mother's life, my grandmother's life, because I knew their life. And I hated my life. I fucking hated it. And I said with all the power and all the fucking might that I had in me, because I fucking found it. I found that fucking force. I vowed to find out where the fuck evil came from, and I vowed to fucking destroy it. Fucking demolish it. And that's where my change began. And that's who I am today. I said, I don't know how I'm going to find it. Where I'm going to get this information to make me change. I just knew I was going to fucking do it. And I made a lot of mistakes on the way, so many. But I kept getting back up because I remembered. I remembered my vow to my son. And I was going to change the generations, because whatever happened before was not going to happen anymore. Whatever my past was, that's where it fucking stayed. But I wasn't going to give my past to my child and his future generations. And so when I talk about there's evil, there is. And it wants us broken. It wants us broken. And what I'm trying to express here is that we cannot accept to be broken. We are mankind. And we have lived through struggles and battles and always found a way to fucking rise. So find your way. Find what makes you fucking rise. Be determined. And know that you have something working against you. That mankind has something working against us. And I'm here to show you what that is so that you can identify it and learn to fucking move it out. Move it the fuck out. Because it keeps us from getting to where we need to be as a species, and that's to rise above what is happening to our world. I know that's a lot of information. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it at that. In my next video, which I'll be posting tomorrow, I'll be explaining more about how to break that evil. How to break that evil. And how I found angels cross my awareness to get my attention to look at what I couldn't see. What was right in front of me was in front of us, and we don't know how to detect the signs and the symbols, the coincidences and the synchronicities that guide us to a flow that the divine is in. When I say the divine, I mean these angelics. There's a flow of current of information that we could tap into, and we vibrate with, and we flow with, and life is like being in I guess you would say, like being in a boxing ring, and you just roll with the punches. They pop right off, because you can see it coming. You can see the punches coming, and so you can flow. And so once we know that this flow exists, and we tap into that flow, as things are coming, we just can bob and weave and slip, slip what's coming, because it's here. And we can't pretend like it ain't here. When I say it's here, I mean shit is fucking hard in this world. And people are just getting fucking face planted with life right now.